What it do, peeps? What it do? Welcome. Let's take a ride. Plenty of seats on the bus, plenty of refreshments, plenty of beverages. Today on the bus, we got Adam Silver, NBA Commissioner. We got Rebecca Lobo, ESPN basketball analyst, and Napheesa Collier, WNBA player and Vice President of the Players Association and a Vice President of Unrivaled. So, let's get started with Napheesa Collier. Napheesa Collier made turned a lot of heads a couple weeks ago when she ripped Kathy Engelbert. But one thing I've noticed since she did that stunt, she's been awfully quiet. Well, it was reported by the Athletic's Ben Pickman that after she did that stunt, they ended up meeting. Like I said, they would have to meet. You're going to have to go to that table and bargain. So it says, despite the apparent tensions on the key issue, the two sides continue to meet, with players attending some of the sessions, Pickman wrote. During the 2025 WNBA Finals, the WNBPA Executive Committee members Nneka Ogumnwa, Kelsey Plum, Breonna Stewart, and Napheesa Collier, and the WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert attended an in-person meeting, sources with knowledge of the meeting told The Athletic. The meeting came 1 week after Collier's explosive press conference, where she criticized Engelbert's leadership in the W. Despite the tension, one source told The Athletic that the negotiations 1 week later remained respectful. I said when she did it, it was a bad move, it was an emotional move, and it was out of frustration. Mind you, the week after that, there was an anonymous owner who spoke out. They said, I can't stand what Napheesa Collier did. That was a private conversation. It makes me not want to fire Kathy Engelbert, even though I think she should be fired. You gotta think about it, folks. The anonymous owner is someone close to Napheesa Collier. There's only 13 teams. Napheesa Collier plays for the Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx are owned by the same guy that owns the Minnesota Timberwolves. The person that's closest to Napheesa Collier will be the owner of the team that she plays for. He just didn't come out and say it. But notice, she hasn't said anything online, anything. No Instagram posts, nothing about Unrivaled, nothing about the WNBA, nothing. Crickets. No negative talk after the stunt she pulled. Nothing. She's been totally silenced and put in check. And they told her, you're either going to bargain or we're going to blow this thing up. And that's what they told Napheesa. Now, Napheesa won't be riding with us long because she's still on punishment. So she can't really say much. So we're going to let Napheesa off at the first stop. We're going to let her off in Miami because she got a lot of stuff to do with Unrivaled. They got a bunch of stuff going on too. They got some stuff they got to deal with. Rebecca Lobo, one of my favorite players. Matter of fact, I think her card's back there. Yeah, it's right there. Back there. Rebecca Lobo. Fun to watch, especially when she was at UConn. But Rebecca Lobo had some lip service that she did today too. Or the other day. So let's take a listen to what Rebecca Lobo had to say about the CBA.
And honestly, too, this is sort of the first time I'm watching the CBA negotiations from afar without the fear that the league's going to fold. Because to me, in every previous CBA negotiation, there was a real possibility that the NBA could just say, this is too much, we're losing money, we're not willing to invest, we'll just fold the league. That's not a reality anymore. That's not an economic reality. These franchises are worth too much. These women are worth too much. And so there is that sort of piece of relief in me that I've never had before, watching from the outside of, well, at least we know, even if there was a lockout, which I don't think there's going to be, even if there was, this league is not just going to go away.
She said some very interesting things, especially from the standpoint of this is the first time she's not been fearful that the NBA would shut it down. The biggest point she made was when she said the NBA investing in the league. That's the part that keeps on getting missed, is that little thing called investment in the league. Mind you, the airplane thing, of course, Caitlin Clark came to the league last year, and they all got the private jets. And that came about. That came about because Kathy Engelbert went to the owners of the NBA, not the owners of the WNBA. She went to the NBA and asked for them to release the purse strings and open up some money. That's how they got that money. They got that money from the husband's account. So Rebecca knows that. Rebecca's playing this game. One thing about Rebecca, she works for ESPN, so I take everything she says, her lip service, with a grain of salt. One thing she will never admit the impact of Caitlin Clark, which it goes on and on and on with these folks. It's almost like Caitlin Clark doesn't exist until they need her for something, but they want to use the clout, but don't want to use her name and associate the two together. The other thing about that Rebecca said was the players aren't that valuable. She said the franchises are going up, and the league knows the value of the players. Yes, the players are not that valuable. Caitlin Clark is extremely valuable, but you got to downplay that for the league. Also, Rebecca is also working another angle. The players are working on behalf of the older players to get them pensions. So, if the players succeed, Rebecca Lobo benefits from it. So you got to take that into account too when you're speaking about Rebecca Lobo. Now, the thing that everybody was talking about was the last passenger, and we're going to let Rebecca Lobo get off. We're going to leave her off, drop her off in New York. And Rebecca, have a good trip. Hey, enjoy the rest of your enjoy the NBA season. Adam Silver. Now, everybody talked about the Adam Silver aspect and the interview with Craig Melvin. Keep in mind, I'll leave a link to that video. It wasn't a WNBA segment. The Adam Silver was on NBC speaking with Craig Melvin because this was going to be the kickoff for the NBA returning to NBC and the kickoff for the season. So they just NBC Universal signed a big deal with the NBA, which in tunes got the WNBA as well. So Craig Melvin is not really trying to cause waves with a partner. Craig Melvin would get fired so fast if he went out of line. So the lip service in this one is it's an interview about the NBA. Every question Adam Silver already knows Craig Melvin's going to ask. They've already rehearsed this, went over this. He's gotten these questions well in advance. The question about the WNBA was actually a throw-in question at the end. If you watch the interview and watch Craig Melvin, he's super relaxed. They're having a good time. He's asking questions. He's being nostalgic, talking about, yeah, I grew up with the NBA on NBC, which many of us did. And every question is smooth. Craig Melvin has interviewed thousands of people, bigger people than Adam Silver. But when he asked the question about the WNBA, he starts stammering and fumbling over statistics and that 9% that he keeps bringing up and the revenue share, and then he compares it to the NBA. You gotta watch the video in full because it's only a 6-minute video. The most important things about the video had nothing to do actually with the W. It was more concerned with the future of basketball in America and the 7 MVPs being from the last 7 champions. MVPs have all been foreign born, and the amount of players in the league, which Adam Silver said there was around 30% of the NBA are foreign born. In comparison, in the WNBA, 34 out of the 56 in this past season were foreign born. I'm telling you, it's going to be, and they alluded to it in that video, it's going to be a global game. I could do a whole video just on that 6 minutes and how it compares to USA basketball. And that's why Adam Silver in the video said Grant Hill's got some work to do because Grant Hill is over USA basketball. But let's get into what he said about the WNBA, and I want you to pay attention to what Craig Melvin, the stammering. He's not smooth when he asks the question. It's a throw-in question. Here he goes.
Before I let you out here, WNBA, as you know, they're calling for players in the WNBA are calling for more money. They 9%, I believe, accordingly. They get 9% of total revenue compared to roughly 50% of the revenue of NBA players. Should they be getting a larger share of the revenue in the WNBA?
Yes. I mean, I think share isn't the right way to look at it because there's so much more revenue in the NBA. I think you should look at absolute numbers in terms of what they're making, and they are going to get a big increase in this cycle of collective bargaining, and they deserve it.
Commissioner Adam Silver, best of luck.
Thank you, Craig.
And by the way, welcome home. Welcome home.
Thrilled to be here.
I hope you stick around for Round Ball Rock later.
Of course.
All right. Another reminder, in case you hadn't heard,
Craig, that whole interview, Craig Melvin never looked at his notes until it got to that WNBA segment, and he knew he had to get it in. He knew he had to get it in. It was like playing softball or playing ball with your son. You throw him a pitch right down the middle because you want the kid to hit it. That's all Craig Melvin did. Craig Melvin threw that thing to Adam Silver. Adam Silver was waiting on him to deliver that pitch. He knew it was going to be at the end of the interview. It was so predictable, so easy to read. The lip service was crazy. But one thing about the lip service, Adam Silver's never going to negotiate publicly. Never. He's never going to upstage Kathy Engelbert. Never. He's never going to upstage her. He has put her in the position to run this league. If Adam Silver wanted to, he would just turn the lights off, period. But he did one thing that I've seen done whenever there's a bargaining issue going on. He threw some bait in the water. And eventually, mark my words, we'll come back to this video. In the next few weeks and months, if this thing drags on, the players that aren't in Unrivaled, the players that are not overseas, the players that normally just go get a job, or maybe they were a rookie this year, they couldn't get on with Athletes Unlimited, they couldn't get on with Unrivaled, they couldn't go overseas, they were just working. Those players are going to remember what he said when he said a substantial raise. Those players are going to start making waves. Those players are going to start talking when those pockets get empty. Adam Silver knows that, and that's the reason why he threw that cut up bait in the water, because he knows it's going to attract fish. It won't attract them today, but it will attract them in the weeks and months to come when those bills pile up and you start wanting to buy stuff. He did that for a reason. The other thing that he did, that he cut Craig Melvin off, he made the clear distinction. The WNBA is not the NBA. Don't ever think their money is equal to the money that we're making. He made sure he let them know that. The women can find that disrespectful because, to be honest, the WNBA, the women of the WNBA for the most part cannot stand the NBA. They call the NBA the MNBA, the Men's National Basketball League, because they hate those men. And that's all it is. It's really just a pissing contest because they want the same things or more than the men got. Because they want to say, ha ha, look what we got. That's what it all boils down to. It's not really about the money, it's really about control. That substantial raise is going to keep hitting and hitting. Mark my words. That's what's going to happen. The other thing that I thought that when I say Adam Silver did lip service as well, he too knows Caitlin Clark, who can't get on this bus ride because this bus ride is about people that just do a bunch of talking, selling wolf tickets. He too knows, along with the owners, that everything dipped without Caitlin Clark. They had enough sample size, and that's the reason why he said they have to deal in absolutes. the absolute numbers, the real numbers. Tomorrow I'm gonna drop a video because they have a certain time that they have to give the financials for the revenue. They have to give a revenue statement to the WNBA Players Association. They also have to give a financial statement about the merchandise, the jersey sales, and such and so forth. They have a certain time frame when the season ends to get that over to the Players Association. So the Players Association knows how many jerseys that the players sell. They also know how much money the league makes, even though they keep acting like the league's hiding money. And two, we already know that if the league was funny with the numbers, they can do an audit if they want to at their disposal. It's in their contract. It's in black and white. We covered it back in the summer. But I just wanted to talk about the lip service that went on between Napheesa Collier, then followed by Rebecca Lobo, and then finally with Adam Silver. And I doubt you hear from Adam Silver anymore. I think it'll get turned back over to Kathy Engelbert going forward. But the substantial thing, when he dropped that, I went through bargaining where a CEO dropped a money amount and got people that were at the bottom excited. And I've seen a contract get solved by that. And for a quick story, I remember one time CEO said, "Hey, we're going to give." There was a certain job title that was new. It wasn't a high-paying job title, and the CEO dropped a hint about possibly giving that specific job title like $1,000, $1,500 bonus, and we're sitting there like, dude, I hope they don't take that. They're going to get hit in healthcare. That's going to eat that $1,500 up. A $1,500 one-time payout is nothing compared to your healthcare hiking up. Needless to say, those people took the bait. They jumped on the offer. They pushed to get the vote going through. The vote passed. They got their $1,500, and they also got higher healthcare, which ate up more than the $1,500. And then they learned. But they were all young. They were all new hires, and it was a new job title. So yeah, Adam Silver knew what he was doing when he said substantial. He knew he was talking. That was his bait in the water. But thank you for taking this ride, and until next time, peace.